Hello, welcome to my photo studio and to ProPhotoLife.com. Today we're going to do one of my favorite little projects. It's just for fun. It's a pinhole camera that uses 35mm film. And this is it. It's made out of just a little tin box from a craft store. I've got it held onto a tripod here with rubber bands, but it has a nice little film advance. Which I know 1.5 turns gets me to the next exposure. It's a wide format, and here's my shutter. Right there, something very simple. And so let's take a look at the insides and how we're going to make this. Here are the basic ingredients for making our pinhole camera. We're starting with a small tin box from the local craft store, some wooden spools, a wooden dowel, a piece of black foam core. We also have a piece of aluminum from a soda can and a small number 9 sewing needle. And the rest of the things you see here are available in most of your home workshops. The most important thing, of course, is the 35mm film. So let's get started making our pinhole camera. We're going to start with the bottom of the tin, and we'll have to drill a hole in the very center. That's where the shutter is going to go, the shutter and the pinhole. So the way I do that is I place it on a 2x4 block and measure from corner to corner just to make a hash mark in the center of the tin. Do that the other direction also, and then I'll just use a nail or a screw to make a little dent to start where I'll be doing the drilling. So we go ahead and drill that out with a 1/4 inch drill bit, and we're looking good. And we need to drill a hole up in the corner also for our film advance, and we'll use a drill bit the same size as the wooden dowel, just so it's a snug fit. And now it's time to create the interior using the foam core slats. And we're going to measure, this dimension is about 3 3/8 inches, so I'm going to make it just a little bit longer, the foam core. I'm going to make it about 3.5 inches, so it's a good snug tight fit. And the height is 1 1/8 inch, so I'm going to make it just 1 inch tall. Here we go, we've got our pieces cut. I'm going to try and see how they fit. They fit nice and snug, and we'll space them out so that there's plenty of room for the film canister on each side. That'll give us a good fit. There we go, same on the other side. And now I've got glue on the foam core. I'll place it in the exact same position and get it seated well for both sides. And now we're going to make the very small pieces of foam core where the film is going to reside. Okay, it's about 1 inch this way, and it's also 1 inch in height, so we just need 1 inch by 1 inch squares to put into position. Have the first one in position, and I'm going to space the other one using the distance of the film, the height of the film as a gauge. So let's take what we have and go outside and paint it flat black. Now to create our film advance, I have the 2 wooden spools and the dowel, and I'm just going to make that an arbitrary length. You can be as critical with these measurements as you want. I'm just going to kind of wing it here. It's a pinhole camera. And then I'll be slotting the end so that it fits into the film canister for rotation. So with the hacksaw, I made the slot. It's working really well. And the back of the camera is going to have a piece of foam core to use as the film plate, and also another piece of foam core to put pressure on the film cassette. Now to make the pinhole with the number 9 sewing needle, we press it into the soda can and just rotate it, make a nice tiny hole, not pushing it all the way through. And then we're going to use steel wool to buff that on both sides, just making it nice and smooth. And I'll use the sewing needle once again just to kind of hone that hole and smooth it out. I'll repeat that a couple of times actually, just making a nice smooth hole and eyeballing it. Then I'll cut that down to make it smaller and more manageable around the pinhole. And we'll place a piece of tape with a hole cut in it over the pinhole, and that's how it will be held in the back of the camera. Time to test the fit on our wooden dowel and our spools. Everything looks good. We'll take it out and we'll paint that black also. And we'll put the pinhole in place. It's looking good. And I'm going to just color the tape black with a Sharpie. And I've assembled the spools and the shaft. I'm using felt washers also in between, and I'm gluing that all in place. And now we're going to drop that film cassette in for the first time. We see how it'll be. We've pulled the film over in the dark room if we're actually loading it, and we're going to load foam to hold the cassette in place so that when we advance this film it'll be nice and smooth. Now let's mark the edges of the film and also mark the film advance just to see how many exposures we're going to get and how far forward we should be turning this. I see that for this camera it looks like 1.5 turns is pretty darn good to get to the next frame. So I'll do that repeatedly, and I'll mark numbers on the film just to check out that film advance, and checking again to see if it's 1.5 frames. And finally, we're at frame 18 and we're at the end of the roll. So we see that we'll get 18 exposures from the camera. The spacing won't be even. You'll have to do that by feel as you progress with the camera. And we're done. We've got a new pinhole camera. Now, to attach the camera to a tripod, I just use a tripod with a flat base, flat platform, and a couple of rubber bands. Certainly nothing fancy here. There's one side. And there we go. It's all situated. So let's take our first picture. Okay, got 100 speed print film in it. I'm gonna guess it's overcast outside my garage door here. I'm gonna guess it's about 2 seconds. So there we go. There we go. 1001, 1002. And then advance. 1.5 turns. And that's it. That's the pinhole camera. If you would like to see the construction of the pinhole camera in greater detail, just visit profotolife.com, do a search on video pinhole camera, and there you'll find photographs of the interior and the construction. Thanks always for watching.